Okay, guys. Today we're beginning to look at intervals. Um, Chapter 6 deals with intervals, or the distance between two notes. And so today we're just going to look at some generic intervals. All right, so here we have a treble clef staff, and we'll look at some how we measure these generic intervals on the staff. So, for example, when you have two notes that are on the same line or the same space, for example, this C4 and this C4, that is called a first or a unison. And if you're in some British territories, they might call it a prime. So for example, C to C would be a unison or a first. Okay, here we have D to D, also a unison or a first, and E to E, a unison or a first. When we're measuring generic intervals, we're just talking about the size of the interval, the distance. We're not worrying about whether it's C sharp or D flat or Z, X, Y, or something like that. We're just measuring the size. All right, so here we have some other intervals. C to C sharp. Okay, those are not the same note, but still, forgetting about the sharp, it's still a unison or a first. Same thing here for D to D flat, and here A sharp to A flat. Those are all firsts. Now, as the notes become further apart on the staff, the interval between them increases. So here we have C to D. That is a second, and we count that by starting on the first note and going up the staff. So here we have 1, 2. D to E is also a second, 1, 2. And E to F is a second, 1, 2. These would be considered, and what we've talked about before, as half steps and whole steps. But for measuring intervals, we're not going to worry about the quality. We're just going to talk about this size, a second apart, 1, 2. Here we have examples of thirds. C to E. Here you can see that the two notes are played one after another. Here they are played together. This would be a melodic interval, played as a melody. Here you would have a harmonic interval, played in harmony, together at the same time. So if we were to count those, starting from C, 1, 2, 3, that's a third. Same thing for D to F. Here's a melodic third, D to F, and a harmonic third. Counting up from D, starting on D, 1, 2, 3. E to G, same thing, 1, 2, 3. It's a third. So thirds will always be either line to line or space to space. Here we're going from C to F, counting up, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a fourth. D to G is also a fourth. E to A is a fourth. Melodic intervals played separately, harmonic intervals played the same. Here we have examples of fifths. C to G is a fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. D to A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And E to B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you play a stringed instrument like violin, viola, or cello, these are how our strings are tuned in fifths. Okay. Increase the size of the interval one more. From C up to A, we have a sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing from D to B and from E to C. Increase the interval again, so we go from C to B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we have a seventh. D to C is a seventh. E to D is a seventh. Now, when we get to the next note name, or another note name that's the same as the other, it's the same pitch class. Remember that from chapter 1. We now have an eighth or an octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. C to C, D to D, and E to E. All right, so here's you a chart of generic intervals. And you can transpose those to any clef or pitch. All right. I hope you enjoyed that and have fun working on these generic intervals.